So as someone who's been to college, I can tell you right from the start that sometimes, even if you have a major set in mind for a future you really want, it can change. People say that high school is the time where you discover yourself, but really that's college. College, unlike high school, gives you the independence to pick your own major, classes, and to get to know yourself as a person. That's where you find yourself. And you'll find out there that it's actually okay to change your mind about what you want to do. Anyway, back to the point. I wanted to be an actress. So, of course, I majored in drama. Everybody kept telling me all sorts of things, that an actress is one of the most competitive and complicated careers that you could want. However, drama majors are basically lazy cop-outs. Wrong! To the second half. You had me at the first half, I'm not gonna lie. We are not lazy. In fact, drama majors probably have the most confidence, presentation skills, and best memory following them out of school because we're literally forced to speak publicly while memorizing lines. So, no, it's not an easy A. Try it sometime. And let me tell you about drama classes. I was basically in a drama class from every single semester, from freshman spring semester, and I loved it. My first drama teacher and class was awesome. It's basically where the fun started and the friendships between drama majors blossomed. I met all types of people in that class, and I was in my prime. I remember some stuff happened here. One of my friends, let's call him Savage, thought me and my friend Rachel, not really Rachel, were an item. I corrected him by saying she and I both had boyfriends at the time. Well, my drama teacher had us do scenes from a hat one day. Rachel was my bride who had to flirt with me, and I was her wife who had to seduce her. This was fun. We both started flirting and cuddling with each other, talking about a honeymoon, all in front of Savage. I remember laughing about it afterwards. Let me tell you an unbiased opinion about drama majors. Some of these people are actually really attractive. Like, wow. I'll name the next person handsome. Even though I was with someone at the time, I kind of had a little budding crush on Handsome, and I was ecstatic when I was called to do a scene with him. It was a 1-minute conversation where we had to talk like exes would. I was nervous as hell, but we got through it okay. At the end of the semester, I played out a scene where I had to go on a pretend date with someone and throw water at them. It wasn't Handsome, but I remember seeing Handsome laugh in the background every single time I threw the water. I felt pretty happy there. Another drama class after that was taught by one of my favorite teachers and advisors there. I'll call him Mr. Kermit, or Professor Kermit, or Kermit. They kind of had us call them by their first names, which was really cool. It was my first semester, and he became one of my favorites. He was honest, he was funny, he was patient. He was one of those that really set the bar high for teachers. I remember one time I made him laugh while another professor, we'll call him Jesse, was watching. Kermit was telling us about how some roles aren't made for some people. For example, he said how he, as a male, couldn't be playing as someone who was pregnant. And I just blurted out, unless you're trying out to be a seahorse. Professor Kermit, he took a second to think that through, and I thought I was going to be in trouble. But then he started laughing, and I was so proud. And as for Professor Jesse, you were one of the best teachers because of how strict you were. And I hope I get to be in your class again when things go back to normal. Now, for her. Oh yes, her. Professor Umbridge. Not really. You got the clue. She was a Drama 101 professor, and yes, I know what you're thinking. Why wasn't this your first class? It's because my dumb self didn't see it when I was enrolling. Now back to the show. Rachel and I were in that class, and we can both agree that we hated her. She wasn't teaching with the right skills at all and didn't keep us engaged in a conversation. She expected us to be professionals and creative, but knocked down every single idea and treated us like we were in elementary school. I at least have one fond memory of her class, though. Not her. Just her class. It was when Rachel and I acted together. Basically, I had to talk Rachel out of jumping from a block, which would be her window or her balcony. But every 5 words I said, Professor Umbridge kept interrupting and telling me I wasn't saving her. And I was like, well, okay, let me talk at least. Then Umbridge told me to stand on a block with her. I don't know how to describe the width of the block to explain how this should not have physically worked, but somehow we pulled it off. I got up there next to her, and someone from the class eventually said how I should be the one to jump if Rachel went back the other way. Basically, to trade my life for hers. She was like, okay, and said I should jump first. And we argued with each other about who should jump off the ledge, and we're basically pushing at each other off the block. And then I was like, wait a minute, I'm saving you. So I told her I'd jump off the ledge if she went to the other side on the count of 3. So we did that and got a whole lot of laughs. I mean, at least I saved her. Last example is a teacher I'll call Psychowitz. He was my last drama professor before I had to take a break from school, and I'm a bit iffy, to be honest. I liked him, but some things annoyed me a bit. Like Kakashi-sensei from Naruto, he was always late and told us that we were delaying the class. He canceled classes sometimes, too, the day of, and when it was time for class. I remember this one day, he told us to make something out of 3 random objects in the room. We had a table, a chair, and a block. We had to do this ourselves, solo, without speaking. So I went up, and using the table as a pillar, the block as a step, and the chair as a couch, I reenacted the pivot scene from Friends, hoping that Rachel would get it. I mean, guys, I called her Rachel for a reason. She didn't get the scene right away, but it's okay. Someone else did after a whole 2 minutes of me melding pivot and straining to pick up a chair. He also gave us 4 chairs, 2 blocks, and a table to make a picture with just those. And I remembered something from another drama class that day where we learned about Louis XIV and his seating arrangement. I recreated the arrangement and explained it. Later, my friend, Gosling, because he looks like Ryan Gosling, walked up to me and said that he was impressed that I remembered it enough to create it. The class was about social movement, by the way. Basically, it was a class for protests and activism, and you get it. And we had to participate in a protest for our final project. Like, what? You didn't want to say this in the description? What if we got in trouble? But he kept saying it was all about the risk. We all had ideas to protest for, but he shut everything down except for free tuition. So we protested for free tuition. We had to make shirts as a class, basically, to spell out Free CUNY, and he told us that it was mandatory for everyone, even him, to be there one day to make the shirts or we would fail. The day to make shirts was a day during club hours, and club hours were 2 hours of 2 days of a week where there would be no classes. It was like a breather for students to engage in club activities or study. I rushed after class the day of that announcement to buy everyone large white shirts. I knew everyone in this class, and I was part of a friend group with Rachel, her boyfriend Chandler, and our friend Geller. These are actually the names that we have in a group chat. Rachel explained that she had to work the day of the shirt making, which was fine. But tell me how that day, literally only me, Chandler, and Geller were the ones working on the shirts. Psychowitz only told some students he wouldn't be there, and those students didn't stick around after class. No one did. I had to rush to the supermarket to buy us some markers, and we 3 elves basically made the shirts for everyone while trying to figure out whose letter was whom's. Luckily, we finished right before I had to run across campus to biology. And I should probably tell you guys this. We only had 2 hours to do all of this. It was impressive. The day of the protest, Psychowitz was late again, and he told us how we were slacking off. He then looked at the shirts and said, "These shirts suck. Who made them this terrible?" And I just thought, what did he just say? Believe me, I was positively livid. I'm pretty sure Rachel, Chandler, Geller, and I exchanged some looks as he said that. Anyway, we did a protest and we passed. I miss those days, honestly. Toodles.